Yamaha presents the Whitetail Diaries, chronicling hunting adventures of the most plentiful and intelligent big game animal in North America. Join top whitetail hunters nationwide. Embark on the amazing adventure that is hunting the whitetail deer. Crossbow hunting is one of the fastest growing forms of hunting today, combining both the accuracy and intimacy of a bow hunt with the speed and precision of a rifle hunt. Crossbow hunters are enjoying the best of both worlds.
You know, the cool thing about that crossbow is just lack of recoil. I mean, there's nothing, it's so easy to shoot. When you pull the trigger, it's just, I mean, that bolt just shoots out of that thing. I mean, you don't feel anything. So there's nothing nerve-wracking about shooting that thing at all.
I liked archery and I liked rifle hunt. Crossbows aren't a replacement for bows. I think people believe that when they see them, but that's not it at all. It's just another method to hunt. It's got a little bit of the rifle with optics and stuff like that, but it's got a lot of the archery with limited range. You got to be close, you got to be conscious of scent, all types of things, whereas a rifle you can cheat a little bit because you're farther away.
And everybody I've been around wants to shoot it. They like shooting. I mean, it is absolutely fun to shoot.
I like shooting them. I like hunting with them. I won't give up archery hunting. I won't give up shooting with a rifle. I'll just add the crossbow to my closet and take stuff with that too.
Well, we're here with Clark Wendland when he shot his first buck with a crossbow on his family ranch, and the intensity did not disappoint.
As it's getting light, there's 3 big bucks I could see kind of milling through the mesquite, and finally I see the right deer. And you know, we're fairly close to those deer. I just got to move really slow. I just really took my time. I got up there. I wanted to range find that deer. I used a Nikon rangefinder just to know exactly how far it was. And it ended up being 33 yards. Well, as I'm about to, you know, I click the safety off, the deer basically walks up and postures another buck. And he wasn't scared. He was just kind of running that buck off. And I'm thinking, well, I got to re-range find. You know, he's walking away from me. He turned broadside at probably 60 yards, but then he ended up walking back and he ended up coming to the exact same place I had range found before. So I knew he was 33 yards. So it was absolutely perfect. I didn't have to pull the rangefinder up again. I just had to wait for him to turn broadside. They were so close to us. I mean, gosh, they were just right there. And we couldn't move at all. I mean, we finally got a wind. I mean, I think I got him. I think I made a great shot. Man, that crossbow was awesome. I mean, I put the dot exactly where it needed to be on that 10-point crossbow and drilled him. I mean, it was perfect. I didn't know where I'd hit him. I felt like I'd made a good shot, but when we looked at it afterwards, I mean, it was absolutely perfect. Oh wow, look at this deer. Oh my goodness. Oh my God, look at the size of that thing. Look at that thing. That is so cool.
More crossbow hunting action when the Whitetail Diaries returns. The Yamaha Whitetail Diaries is brought to you in part by Yamaha ATVs and side-by-sides, real world tough. Cabela's, it's in your nature. Garmin, the power of simple. And by Nikon Sport Optics.
Julie Goloski, Smith & Wesson Consumer Program Manager and World Champion Shooter.
Joe Zanetti, Smith & Wesson Finishing Specialist and lifelong hunter.
Jim Dalton, Smith & Wesson Master Gunsmith. I shoot competitively, and so does my son.
Our people, our products, our passion. Smith & Wesson.
Unlike farmers, hunters usually only get to plow and plant their food plots on weekends. So the #1 complaint is that the plot didn't come up or the stand was thin. Delta Ag has developed a 3-step process that focuses on the soil, seed, and plant. And after many years of real-life situations, Delta Ag has found this concept to be a solid foundation to build crop performance from the ground up. For more information, visit our website at seedcoat.com or see your local dealer. Welcome back to the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries. We're breaking out the 10-point crossbows to target whitetail on today's show, and Cabela's Mark Nelson, in an unseasonably hot hunt last year, well, he tried everything to get to use his crossbow for the first time on a whitetail buck. Now, crossbow hunting, like archery hunting, requires the whitetail to come closer to your hunting stand. It also requires the hunter to know the range of his target to help ensure a more accurate and ethical harvest. A great way to make sure the target is in the range you're comfortable with is by using a good rangefinder. Whitetail Diaries presents Fully Loaded, getting you geared up from head to toe for every hunt.
Try to get some of these landmarks shot with the rangefinder so that I have at least an idea. Hopefully if a deer comes in, there'll actually be time to range him at the shot, but at least if I know this bush is this far and this bush is this far, I'll have a pretty good idea how to be able to react quickly if need be. I'm just going to take a couple ranges real quick. Close bush is 17. I know that bush is about 20. The far bush will be about 40, 41. If we get him inside that, we'll be perfect.
Find any of the products you've seen on today's show at Cabela's.com. Back to the hunt. Well, Mark was never able to get his buck on this hunt. The hot weather kept the deer from moving, but he'll be back to try again soon. Now, let's head over to the Rock Canyon Ranch, where weather will also be a game changer for Cabela's Chris Sprangers, as he goes after a monster with his 10-point crossbow.
I'm excited. I haven't hunted deer with crossbow. I actually hunted some bear and some other things. The crossbows and the 10-point crossbows they've got out these days are they're a blast to shoot. They're easy to use, and it's a good time.
You hunt with what you're dealt with condition-wise, and you know, today and this week the weather is going to be kind of crazy for this area that we're hunting in. I mean, there hadn't been a lot of rain in a long time. We've got fronts coming through, thunder, lightning, rain, which is really important for everything here, but it's going to make our hunt a little different than probably what we expected when we started planning this hunt.
Now, Chris will be heading out with guide Austin Terry, who's brushed up in a pop-up ground blind.
So day one, we walked into 2 ground blinds over kind of a high flat. You know, like I said, it's Rock Canyon Ranch. There's a lot of canyons. We were kind of on the top, an area that Austin had seen 2 or 3 different bucks that had been traveling through regularly. In fact, they had seen them almost 10 days straight in that spot up until the day before we showed up.
It started raining a little bit. I was feeling pretty good knowing that those deer were in the area. Probably only about 30 minutes into the hunt, we saw a pretty good one off in the distance just walking. And well, we had some fallow does coming in at that time. They started grunting at us and making noises, and he popped his head up and looked at about 200 yards out and decided if he wanted to come in or not. And I guess he decided he didn't want to because he started just veering off the other direction and we never saw him again.
He was kind of headed this way, so let's just be ready.
It was kind of a bust, but it did give our hopes up. We'd been sitting only for one night and we saw a great deer. It was a big buck, but no dice. We ended up quitting and coming back the next morning into even worse weather conditions. It's a little bit different conditions this morning. As you can tell, the wind's really kicked up, but the rain's gone, so not really sure what the deer are going to be doing, but we certainly won't see one if we don't sit in the blind. So we're going to get settled in and wait for the sun to come up.
At first the wind, it was blowing and blowing the blind around, but not really moving it too much. It was flapping, but then the wind started swirling on us, came from a little bit different direction and really started whipping on it. Some big gusts, and started moving it to where we actually had to start holding the blind down.
We almost got blew off the mountaintop. It seemed like it was really blowing. I mean, it was a pretty constant battle that we would be sitting there and a big wind gust would hit, and you know, we'd grab the ground blind and we could hear the other blind for the camera blowing all over. And at one point, Austin and I looked at each other in the brush we had piled on. The blind was over our shooting lane, so I think Austin was holding the blind and I was pushing the brush back up on top, and we're trying to be quiet, but again, the wind's making all the ruckus, so we were just trying to make sure if we got lucky enough to get an opportunity that we'd actually have one. And it was a nightmare from the beginning. I mean, we had some animals come in, but no whitetail bucks, and we walked away. We were starting to get a little disappointed, but still only the second set. We just needed the weather to break.
With the clock ticking on Chris's hunt, guide Austin Terry and some of the Rock Canyon crew are heading out in the weather to move the blind for the afternoon hunt to hopefully get a better chance at seeing Chris's buck. When the Whitetail Diaries returns, we'll see if this move works. The Whitetail Diaries crew trusts 10-point crossbows to get the job done out in the field. There is no substitute. Visit us at 10pointcrossbows.com.
It's for those who get up early on weekends and those who'd rather rough it than take it easy. It's for those who know it's not just a sport, but a way of life. The new Food Saver Game Saver vacuum sealing system keeps food fresh up to 5 times longer with a rugged design and 12-volt adapter cord for easy use in the field, ensuring your game and fish is fresh when you need it. The Food Saver Game Saver vacuum sealing system. Fielded fresh, sealed fresh.
I trust this muzzleloader every time, because next time could be that once in a lifetime. It's about that one shot that makes all the time I put in worth it. That one trophy that just consumes your mind. That one moment that didn't get away. When you're a Thompson center hunter and every hunt is a chance to outdo the last, the hunt never ends.
The Bubba Blade is the ultimate sportsman's knife and carving machine. The Bubba Blade 9-inch Stiffy is fast becoming the preferred knife of the sportsman for carving up barbecue, big game, or anything else that needs cutting up. One cut and you're through. The safety guards help prevent your hand from slipping into the blade. The blade is made from high-carbon stainless steel for maximum sharpness, edge retention, and is razor sharp. The knife is Teflon coated, so the meat won't stick to the blade. The Bubba Blade is built like a tank and is made to hold up under the harshest of conditions. We start with full tang construction to give the knife balance and extra strength. The handle is extra large and is made from solid thermoplastic polymer, then wrapped in a special synthetic rubber that gets sticky when wet, so your hands don't slip off the handle. So check out our website at www.bubbablade.com and order your Bubba Blade today.
The Yamaha Whitetail Diaries is brought to you in part by Thompson Center Arms, America's master gun maker. Smith & Wesson, made in the USA since 1852. Delta Ag Formulations, improving plant performance. 10-point crossbow technologies, there is no substitute. Well, Cabela's Chris Sprangers is putting a 10-point crossbow to the test here on the beautiful Rock Canyon Ranch But the weather has unexpectedly taken a turn for the worse.
We left that morning on the second day a little disappointed, just more because of the weather. I mean, it all gets down to things you can't control. We were doing everything we could. Austin had done the scouting, he knew where the deer were, we had good blinds, good setups, all that stuff. It's just things you can't control, and that's hunting. So, you know, you can get frustrated, or you just go get something to eat, relax, and hope that the weather breaks. And at one point we stopped, raced back to the lodge, and all piled in the lodge and just watched the monsoon pour down. I mean, it was just driving rain. In that driving rain, Austin had gone and grabbed 2 other ground blinds and stuck them in our new spot, and came back, and I mean, it looked like you could wring him out, man. He was wet. And like I said, the guys here are great, and he's no exception to that rule. He did a good job, put up with the weather, and in the other spot we were moving to, they had been seeing some deer, so I was excited. And the weather was supposed to break, so it seemed to me like everything was coming together.
The break in the weather did come, so Chris and guide Austin Terry are heading out for the afternoon hunt at their new spot.
We hadn't been sitting too long, and it was deer right away. I mean, we saw a whole mess of deer, and it was a light rain, but the wind was gone. Mostly does, a bunch of young bucks, and one big, nice 8. You could tell he was the oldest buck in that group, probably a 4-year-old 8-point. If it was the last day, I definitely would have shot him, not even thought twice about it. But we still had one more morning set, and the weather was only supposed to get better.
Knowing he didn't show up that evening, going into the last morning, I was definitely pretty nervous going in that last morning, knowing we had to get something.
We got up this morning, it was calm, it was quiet, I mean, it was just dead still. And then we were down in a canyon on top of that, so there wasn't even a breath of wind. So, you know, you don't want to make any noise, but we knew that with that weather break, the deer should be moving.
Chris was over there looking out the window, and I could hear him whispering, "I think that's our deer." You know, I stuck my head out just a little bit just to see, and I was like, yeah, that's him. That's the big 10 we're after. But we're gonna have to wait a little bit. It's still pretty dark.
You know, the deer is there, and my biggest concern was light. It was early enough, but they weren't excited. You know, these deer weren't gonna go anywhere. I wanted to make sure that we'd done all the work. Austin had done a ton of work. We put a lot of time in the blinds, and I want to make sure that we got a good shot in good light. So I was ready to take the shot, knew the light was good, and he was kind of hovering between that 35 and 40 range, and we were shooting the targets, and I was a little bit with the crossbow in the beginning. I was struggling a little bit there, so all that was coming back in my mind like, oh great, here he is right where I didn't want him to be, but that's the way it works, right? Murphy's Law. So ready to take the shot, knew everybody was set to go, and then he kind of started turning. He was facing square at me, so I had a head-on shot, which is obviously something I'm not gonna do. Stood there for a while, and then he turned and walked behind a weesech tree. Started to get nervous that he was gonna go too far away, but he turned right back around, and then he was starting to come out of the weesech tree, and I could just see his head, and then he took about 2 more steps, and I was ready to go.
Got him. Oh, man.
It happened fast enough, and it was to the point where he was moving. I didn't want to waste the opportunity. So in my mind, that's the way it should happen. I don't want to rush it and make a bad shot, but I don't want to have a bunch of time to think about it, because that's when things sneak in your mind and make you do things you don't normally do. That 10-point crossbow was just a matter of lining it up and pulling the trigger, and 50 yards of track, and we found our deer. It's a great deer. Excited, had a good time.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
We finally got him.
Let's check this. Look at this size.
Look at this. Perfect shot.
Yeah.
Right where we thought. Wow.
Wow. That's a great Texas whitetail.
Look at
right
that.
there. Look at that thing. Well, I can't say thanks enough to you and Rock Canyon Ranch. And 10
we
Point.
appreciate it.
You know, 35-yard shot with that 10 point.
You made a great shot with that 10 point. We couldn't even see the arrow, and it blew right through him.
Yeah, about 50 yards from where we hit him. Here he is. So, thanks,
50
man.
yards away.
Appreciate it.
You got a great deer right there. That's one heck of a trophy.
Yeah, it is. That's a great deer.
Well, that was another successful entry in the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries. Persistence and perseverance paid off, and Chris was able to make a perfect shot on a great trophy buck. The Rock Canyon Ranch is a premier hunting destination. To book your next hunt and go after a trophy whitetail buck of a lifetime, visit huntrcr.com or give them a call at 903-391-2042. Don't pack up your crossbow just yet. When the Whitetail Diaries returns, we'll show you the best way to use a crossbow for the first time. Now, when it comes to wildlife management products and services related to raising big whitetails, you don't have to look any further than Mummies Incorporated. Located in South Texas, Mummies has been the leader in wildlife management products for over 20 years and know what products it takes to get the job done right. We're the largest independent dealer of Purina's Antler Max line of deer feeds, in addition to our famous brand of Mummy's deer corn that's utilized on ranches all across South Texas. We have a wildlife specialist on staff to answer your deer management questions and help you out with your deer program. At Mummy's, you're a part of the wildlife family and not just a customer.
We try to be here for more than just some place to stop and pick up feed. We're here to answer anybody's questions and any kind of wildlife-related instances.
Before you make your next purchase of any wildlife-related items, be sure to check out our website at www.mummiesinc.com to see how we can help you out.
Change the game, you make the rules. Introducing the all-new Vapor from 10 Point, the most technologically advanced crossbow ever created. 10 Point, there is no substitute.
Faster.
Smarter.
More powerful.
The new ZX7 processor from Stealth Cannon. The game has changed.
When you change the game, you make the rules. Introducing the all-new Stealth SS from 10 Point, the most compact crossbow we've ever created. 10 Point, there is no substitute.
Welcome back to the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries. Well, we've seen some great bucks taken with the crossbows on today's show, but practice and good safety measures are imperative to making a clean and ethical harvest every time out in the field. Before heading out to target your biggest buck ever, it's important to test your crossbow on a target to know the range you're comfortable with.
You know, I watched Chris shoot his crossbow up here at the lodge before we went out, and I felt, you know, he had a 35-yard shot. He practiced 20, 30, 40, and some 50. I felt real comfortable he was going to make a perfect shot on it.
When you do get it out in the field and know what range you're comfortable with, it's important to mark that range, so when the deer comes out, you know you can knock him down.
You know, yesterday I had the opportunity, I could have taken a shot. It wasn't a shot I wanted to take. It was at a range that I hadn't shot. And, I mean, I had a rangefinder, I had a Nikon rangefinder, and the range was 53.4 yards. The furthest I had shot at 50. And I hadn't shot at 50 very many times. And so I just wasn't comfortable with that shot. Without a rangefinder, you know, what happens on flat ground is, you know, when you're sitting up in a tree and you've got individual objects that you can range, it's a lot easier. You know, you can say, oh, there's a bush here that's 20 yards, and there's a cactus here that's 40, and there's a tree here that's 50. But when you're sitting on flat ground and the ground's level with you and almost kind of going away with you, it's really difficult to know how far a deer is going to be. So when those deer first came in there yesterday, I was able to range. I mean, I actually ranged the animal. I mean, I held that rangefinder in my hand and I ranged the actual animal at 53.4 yards. If he would have been 3 or 4 or 5 yards closer, I know that doesn't seem like much, but that arrow's starting to fall a lot at that range. And I know that just from bow hunting. To me, it just wasn't worth taking a shot.
When you're finally ready to make your first harvest with a crossbow, try going after a good mature doe before trying to knock down a big monster buck. Being out in the field is a lot different than shooting at a target. Let's join Whitetail Diaries crew member Justin Rackley as he takes his first doe ever with a crossbow.
I drilled her. Just perfect opportunity, you know, perfect setup, and I think I made a good shot on her. So I think it's all going to be good, and hopefully we can track her down pretty quick and put her on the table sometime soon. Taking my first deer with a crossbow, and I was glad to do it with a 10-point, and I'm pumped.
Hey, great shot, Justin. For more information on any of the crossbows seen on today's show, visit 10pointcrossbows.com. Thanks for watching. Join us next week, won't you, for another exciting entry in the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries. Want to win a hunt? It's simple. Find Whitetail Diaries on Facebook and click the like button. You can follow along with Wade and the crew in the field and be eligible to win tons of sponsor giveaways and your chance to enter the Win a Hunt with Wade Middleton sweepstakes.
Oh my God, I'm gonna get sunburned.
Try to figure out a game plan for this afternoon.
I gotcha.
If our cameraman wasn't wearing Old Spice Fallow Edition,
It'd be good.
we'd have better luck.